After the midnight.
I'm Zach.
And I'm Ryan.
And this is After the Midnight,
A podcast dedicated to the band The Midnight.
Each week we take a deep dive into one of their tracks.
This week we're taking a look at track 6 from the EP Days of Thunder, Los Angeles. Welcome back, everybody. This week we got a little special guest on the podcast. I think you guys know him.
Still can't believe it, man.
So Tyler answered some questions for us and sent us a video, so let's take a listen.
Okay, so hi, After the Midnight podcast. Thank you guys so much for the question. The song Los Angeles was written in 2014. It was the last song to be on the Days of Thunder EP. It was the last song that we wrote. And early in that summer, my wife and I found out that her job was moving her to New York and that we would be leaving Los Angeles. And I had some small little bits of the song that had been written in various forms, but it was kind of in the clarifying understanding that we were going to be leaving, that the song was kind of written with the full force of the emotion and the intent behind it, which was to be our love letter to that city. It was the city that I escaped from a bad relationship to, and it was where I found love. It was, it was my saving grace. It was the Pacific Ocean that healed all wounds, and it set me on the course that I'm on now.
So it's awesome that he sent that in to us. What I really like about what he said is it's a love letter to the city, but I think it's a love letter because, he said, it's where the band started.
And he met Tim. They recorded Days of Thunder there. They started the Midnight. It's really awesome to hear it directly from him, too. it means a ton to both of us that he provided that, for us.
That's awesome. So it's a little different this time because, we're going to break it down. We got the stems for it so we can actually really hone in and listen to each of the tracks. So expect that, guys. But let's take a listen. One thing I want to mention about the production on this one is up until this point, production is really, kind of a significant part of the song. It's still significant here, but it really takes a backseat to Tyler's vocals. And it's just a simple kind of synth bass here.
I think that this is the most straightforward in terms of production that we're getting. It's really happy sounding notes behind Tyler. I wonder if any part of Tim was just kind of like, this is Tyler's song. Obviously Tim's still in LA. He knew Tyler was leaving. This is Tyler's love letter to Los Angeles. Let me just kind of, for lack of a better word, take a back seat.
Your clothes, and my heart feels the weight of all I don't know. Boulevard.
Just kind of wanted to highlight some of the elements that we hear so that you guys can get maybe a new understanding of the production side of it outside of just like the drums and bass. And I'm a huge fan of these chords too. The chords that he touches on are really like 80s Brat Pack movie type of vibes to me. There's some really light guitar sounding synths here. One's actually called a guitar drone, and then you hear this other guitar here too. They're really, really light in the background. I actually didn't notice it until we listened to it broken down like this. And also here's that one shot vocal. This is probably one of the longest fade outs of a song I've heard. Not to mention like the last 10 seconds of the track is just pure silence. As if Tim wants you to really digest the song before it goes on to the next song in your playlist or anything. Really let you kind of just sit with these 6 songs that you just heard and really, I mean, what a beautiful note to end on, man.
It's about the difficulty of seeing things that are beyond our comprehension and having to kind of come back down to earth and reckon with those things, and not being sure exactly what you saw in the vision. So I think it's a very, on one hand, it's like going out and partying on Sunset Boulevard on a Friday night and getting drunk with your friends. I think that element exists, but there's also kind of a spiritual component to it. The long name of Los Angeles is essentially Our Mother, Queen of the Angels, something like that. When it was founded by the Catholic mission many years ago. Yeah, it was my love letter, and I love singing it live because it's the only song that has my wife's vocals on the backing track. In the last chorus of the song live, you can hear her singing, and I really always enjoy every night because we usually end the major part of the set with Los Angeles, and it's a kind of high moment for us, kind of a nice place to end the normal set, and I get to sing along with my wife.
Its hands raised like a gospel choir. If we live forever, let us live forever tonight. Helicopters against the moonlight, our holy mother of the midnight. And if we live forever, let us live forever tonight. The flickers out the canyon fire, its hands raised like a gospel choir. If we live forever, let us live forever tonight. Helicopters against the moonlight, our holy mother of the midnight. And if we live forever, let us live forever tonight.
Back in that clip, he says that Los Angeles was really meaning, our mother, Queen of the Angels. I feel like Our Holy Mother of the Midnight definitely was a draw off of that.
Yeah, beautiful, beautiful ending, and just to bring everything down, just, bring the intensity of the whole release down, and just, man, such a beautiful song. Hearing what Tyler had to say really brought new meaning to it, and just thinking about, screaming that at the top of our lungs at a show with him, or just fans doing that, it's just awesome. I mean, what a high note to end the EP with, what a high note to end a live show with. I mean, just awesome.
And an interesting point about that is at this point they didn't know they would be doing live shows. I mean, they didn't really even know how to do live shows till many years later when they had, a fan base that made it worth it. So it's interesting, like they had that element in here before they even were thinking about live, and this worked so well in the live setting because of that. And not to mention, it's an awesome song and the fans love it. And just, there's so many visuals here, and just makes you think of those, nights with your friends, out partying, hanging out. In this case, it says fire on the beach, face to the sky, kind of taking in the environment, enjoying the moment that you're in. And I love that.
If you go back to the hook, it's like, if we live forever, let us live forever tonight. I feel like that's kind of saying, like, who cares? Like, we're in this moment. I never want it to end. We'll worry about tomorrow, but if we live forever, let us live forever tonight. It's when we're all in those moments that, the most joyous moments of your life that you capture, that you never want to end, that like, this is going to be a memory that I can always fall back on. And it very much gives me those vibes.
So for me personally, I mean, obviously I love the if we live forever, let us live forever tonight. And you and I have definitely had those moments in the past. I mean, none of you guys know it, but I mean, we've been friends for 20 years almost. We've had a lot of nights like that. Yeah, I love that.
I feel like the first night you showed me the midnight was kind of one of those nights that just never wanted it to end. And lo and behold, like, at that time I had no idea that it would grow into what it is now, but yeah, no, I think everybody can relate to, you know, that in some way. It's just the best moments of your life, you know, the storybook that you keep in your memories about, you know, those times that you just never want to end.
Now we shared our thoughts on this song. Let's hear from the fans.
Oh, I remember the first time I listened to it.
You can tell Tyler's feeling for his wife.
It just, I felt it with everything within me. It was like a heartbeat.
It's the song I usually play for people when I want to introduce them to the midnight.
I was in the car driving with the sun and everything was bright. And
when I saw the Midnight in concert.
So I drove 4 hours from Cleveland to Toronto.
There was this part at the end of the song that will stick with me forever.
And it was just magical.
It's basically just a crowd left singing all together.
If we live forever, let us live forever tonight.
It being such a great sense of community and belonging that is hard to describe, but that will stick with me.
You know what, if this was where everything ended, or if I had to live for eternity this entire moment, I would be satisfied.
This song kind of puts me there every time I listen to it, so I love this tune.
Absolutely one of my favorites, both live but also just in general.
I have a friend that I met online, and when I went to go meet him in person, he said, "I have a surprise for you."
That night was transformative.
He knew that the midnight meant a lot to me.
He really brings all his emotion onto the lyrics.
He pulled out one of his many guitars and he played me in Los Angeles. No one has ever done anything like that for me before.
I loved it.
It'll definitely always have a place in my heart.
and I was just in love from the first time I heard it.
That's why I love about Los Angeles.
I do. I love Los Angeles. It was the birthplace of the midnight. It was the birthplace of my love. But I would say that first initial moment of the midnight where Tim and I were in the room writing all the songs together, that ended, with Los Angeles.
Awesome. So yeah, this was fun dive into this song. Super awesome that Tyler responded to us. So since we're doing these in chronological order, the next release after this was Lost and Found, which is a remix of a Tyler Lyle solo project. So we're gonna take on that and then we'll jump into Endless Summer. So since we talked about what our favorite songs were, why don't you guys comment, send us a message on Twitter, let us know what you guys like.
What your favorite song is and why. Yeah, man, it's been truly a pleasure to go through Days of Thunder like this. I have really enjoyed listening to these and learning kind of the backstory of the songs and how the band formed. You know, I think that this is such a cool time in the history of the Midnight.
Thank you guys so much for doing this. I'm really excited to see where this podcast goes.
Awesome. Catch you guys in the next one.
Yep. See ya.